Hey guys, this is GamerCow. Welcome to another video on Duelyst here. I'm just going to show a fun replay I had with my artifact slash golem Sajj deck. The golems are mostly for the early game, and because of Dreamshaper being able to refresh your hand and whatnot, you can play stuff down to distract the opponent from your real game, which is your artifacts. And being able to nuke everything the opponent has, being able to blast them down, it's a lot of fun. It has some flaws, of course, as every deck does, but I just had a really fun match whilst I was trying to rank back up to gold at the start of the new season here, and I decided I wished to share it. So we are starting off with a pretty good hand here. The only card I really wanted to replace was Aymara, because Wildfire Arm gives you blast, so you can hit everything in a column, or in a straight line, which is really good. Ooze, pretty standard, minion to summon for Cassyva here. Generates shadow creeps when it gets damaged. It's pretty potent as a battle pet at the start, but I do have a counterplay for it. We've got the Golem Metallurgist here. The Ancient Bonds, the new expansion that came out last month, definitely does a huge amount for golems and arcanists, and it actually has its own new minion as well, a Celebrant here. 2 mana 1/4, 1 mana 1/4 when you have Golem Metallurgist on the field, and that generates a mana tower for use next turn. Now, using this with a First Wish here, this makes it 3/4. It's a standard thing for Trubian does, but now the Ooze is going to roll in and attack battle pets that AI control. The Shadow Creep Tower spawned in a relatively good spot here. The 4 HP of the Celebrant means it's not too vulnerable to it, and the Dreamshaper here is the main thing that I need to have any golem on the board for. So the fact that this probably isn't dying this turn is pretty good, because I can just put Dreamshaper down and I can draw 2 cards and keep bodies on the board, distracting my opponent from the real threat here, which is pretty good for me. So yeah, gonna draw a bunch of stuff. I forget exactly what I play for this turn. Wildfire Arc is really what makes this deck work, because it gives your general the ability to hit stuff in a straight line. So I could move backwards and I could hit everything that would be here. Can't do it in diagonals, but that's perfectly fine. So Dreamshaper on the mana tile, and I think this is a turn to play a whole bunch of stuff. Pax is another really good battle pet. And yeah, I think I play the other packs on the mana tile just to deny that being moved into, so my opponent is locked at 4 mana next turn, and get my second buff up. So this stops the Sojourner from just simply trading into this packs. They'll have to move over and trade to this one, and that's perfectly fine. Just trading a little bit of damage off, not really too big of an issue there. We do have our hard removal. One of the biggest things for Trubian got, other than the Golem synergy stuff, is Blood of Air. And we're definitely going to need to use it on that Shadow Sister Kalino, because you really don't want to leave this thing on the board. If you leave this on the board, the opponent just heals up ridiculously, and yeah, with the Sojourner drawing cards as well, it doesn't really work too well. So don't get a huge amount of damage off on the enemy general there, but we do get a lot of bodies on the board, which is quite good. And yeah, that definitely helps out. So the Blood of Air, need to do that first so that you don't damage this thing and just heal the opposing general. So Celebrant's done its job. The Dreamshaper itself is a golem, so if I move this away from battle and I draw another Dreamshaper, then I could just play it. The Sojourner draws a card every time it deals damage, but my opponent had too many cards in hand. Million Punish is really good. So Punish is definitely something that I would have been a bit worried about later. And because of all the packs killing themselves, I have a whole bunch of 2/2s on the board which can trade in against enemy minions next turn. Tried this deck initially without packs. It was awful. You definitely need packs in pretty much any Vitruvian deck, even if you don't have a buff stuff for your dervishes. So that's fine. Sphere of Darkness, 1 mana, put a Shadow Creep down, draw a card. Not really going to worry about that too much. Mystic is okay. This is definitely a late game Cassyva deck, because there's so many of these basic stuff to keep the health high, and another Ooze. So that's fine. Sort of feeling like this may be the turn where Wildfire Arm would come into play, but I'm at 6 mana, I'm thinking I can clear the board with what I have here, so let's just equip 2 artifacts and see where this goes. So use up my entire mana for the turn, and I get 2 amazing artifacts here. Thunderclap, anytime I destroy an enemy minion, with my general, I summon a copy of it next to my general somewhere. And Spine Cleaver, general gets just a +1 attack, so it's a pretty modest buff, but every time you kill an enemy minion with your general, it summons one of these. So my opponent now has this 0/4 structure on the board that every time, at the end of every turn, they take a damage point for each one of these which is in play. It's kind of cool. It doesn't really work with the battle pet here, because the battle pet's just going to move in and attack it. It is an enemy unit after all, but it's still kind of neat, you know? I have the ability now, and if my opponent moves in to try and clear my Spine Cleaver here, then Ooze is going to move diagonally and attack them. I don't really want that, because Ooze will generate Shadow Creep for me, and here we see Kalino again. So this is the second copy here, definitely trying to survive a lot until the end game here, but Kalino's going to be the entire turn at 6 mana, so not too impressive. Like I said, Ooze doesn't really work too well with the stuff here, but now we get Wildfire Ankh in as well. I don't need 2 of them in hand, I can replace one of them no problem, and my Bloodborne spell deals double damage to minions. So I can move into this diagonal spot here, I can have a straight line shot at Kalino, and I do 6 damage because my Bloodborne spell doubles the damage. This becomes a Wildfire Ankh, and I actually get the Kalino for myself, which is super cool. So now every time damage is dealt to my opponent, I actually get healed for a point, which is really good. So that's what we're going to see here. And then this guy's just moving out of the way, and yeah, a couple of damage points taken, couple of health recovered. Really good. It's a super funky board state, but that's kind of what happens. So at 7 mana, Spectral Revenant is unfortunately going to happen more often than not. So yeah, that's a bit of a pain. That's going to kill off Kalino here. Deal 4 damage to me because it dealt damage to the opponent. At least I get a health point first, because Kalino, you know, the effect was still in place. She dealt damage to the Revenant. And yeah, a couple more damage down at 10, which is really good. Fortunately, the Bloodfire Totem's going to get destroyed here. It was a 50-50 whether it hit Revenant or the Totem. It's actually a good thing that it did, because I have only 1 charge left on these. Falcia stops me taking damage here, so I can get my own Spectral Revenant. Bit of an unlucky spawn spot. If it spawned in one of these 2 places, I could have rushed at face, but it didn't, so I'm just going to have to bring it forward. This is actually an enemy minion, and I don't really want to destroy it, so I could have dealt 4 damage there. Maybe I should have, but I kind of felt like this was important enough to keep around. And another Dream Shaper here just to get my hand back up, so I have plenty of options for next turn. Lots of extremely strong stuff here. And yeah, 2 more damage dealt. It's pretty good. We have a 6/6 here as well for being able to move towards anything really. And what do you actually do from here? That is always the question. These things you kind of need like Lightbender or maybe Darkfire Sacrifice or something. Cassyva decks don't really play Darkfire Sacrifice, so these would bring her down to 6. I have Blast, and Star's Fury would kind of let me kill stuff as well, so I don't really think there's a whole lot that could be done here. I mean, Ooze isn't going to move forward because the Bloodfire Totem is still in play, so maybe I should have killed that. Third Shadow Sister comes in, trying to get a little bit of heal off here, and I guess that's cool. The Spectral Revenant definitely should have attacked this. I think I would have been in a bit better of a position. Punish just destroys a damaged minion, works really well with the Bloodborne spell here, so that's going to take this thing out. But still taking 2 damage at the end of the turn, and that pretty much means game over. Star's Fury would have summoned a 2/2 minion in all of these spots, and then I could have moved forward and blast kill. So I don't know, it was just a fun game because stealing enemy minions is cool, I guess. I don't know, Thunderclap is pretty awesome. So yeah, just a little game. Wanted to show kind of a fun deck off. I don't know how viable Sajj really is, although I've been doing quite well with it. Deck was 9-5 today, and I was about 10-3 with it at the end of the month in Diamond last you know, a couple of days back, basically, about 10 and 3. So deck's got a pretty good track record at the moment. It's fun to play, so if you've got the cards here, try Sajj Golem stuff out, it's neat. Anyway, this has been Gamer Cow showing off a Duelyst replay, and until next time, take care.